Hey friends, did you know that Medium Curious is brought to you by VerySoul? VerySoul is a platform where everyone can receive a free mediumship reading. And it provides us free. Really. And it provides a safe place for mediums in training to go practice, but also practice.
Yes, mediums need practice.
Yes, we do.
But did you know that VerySoul upholds vigorous standards for their working mediums? By requiring compelling evidence in every session, they ensure consistent, reliable, and meaningful experiences for every client. So go to verysoul.com, mediums you can trust.
Hey everybody, I'm Jane.
And I'm Sarah.
And you're listening to the Medium Curious podcast, the show that explores how the extraordinary is actually ordinary and the ordinary can be totally extraordinary.
Oh, yeah. Just magic. It's all magic.
Those are big words for magic.
Yeah. And our guest today is pure magic, right?
Yes, totally.
Marisa S. White. She is a fine art photographer who creates surreal narratives that delve into the realms of transformation, spirituality, and the vast spectrum of the human experience. Wow.
Yes. She is, so she's a fine art photographer who makes surreal art with montaging the photography. And I met her at Park City Art Festival. So our conversation kind of just jumps right in. So I thought I'd at least say that part. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, Marisa White, we're so excited to have you here. I'm really excited for you to get to know Sarah a little bit as I got to know you a tiny bit when I met you. Can you? Wait.
Jane, I heard from you. She's like, oh, Sarah, gotta meet this person. I love her. And you just know that when Jane meets somebody, it's like, it's real. It's true love. And it's honestly because she is attracted to the way people move through this world.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
It was pretty wonderful. I remember I was chatting with I think 2 or 3 people in my booth at the time, and I see Jane kind of walk by and we make eye contact. And I was just kind of like, oh, there's something here. And I didn't, just had the little thought go through, and I obviously was engaged in conversation, so I'm not going to stop talking with whomever's in my booth at the time. And then, noticed that you were lingering around.
I was lurking, straight up lurk.
And I can't remember exactly what you said to me afterwards when we were finally both free. You kind of poised a delicate question, which maybe you remember better than I do. Menopause has crept into my mind in the worst kind of way. So.
Yeah, menopause owns me. But my vague memory is that I said something like, I overheard you chatting to those folks, and they were talking about someone on the other side. And my question to you, which is my question to you for our audience, is that common? Does that happen a lot? Because your artwork inspired that in me immediately. I was like, I have it right now. Chills. I'm like, ooh, spirit is 100% in this game. And what is happening? And then, of course, I'm standing there lurking. And then I hear these people talking about their dead person. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep lurking. So that was my question. Yeah.
I do believe that there are things that happen beyond this life, and that things that we can't understand completely. And that the more we know, the more we know that we don't know. And that's kind of what blossomed into our conversation from there on out. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yep. And that's actually, you just channeled Sarah right there, because that's kind of Sarah's favorite phrase is, we don't actually know.
We don't.
We don't know.
But we can sure have a good time trying to figure it out.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do here. Well, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the art you make? And of course, we're going to link, and we're going to have all the visuals on our Instagram. But just kind of tell us about the art you make and maybe a little bit about the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the simplest terms, I create photo montages. So what that means is I take multiple photographs and then I composite them together seamlessly using the computer. Photoshop is definitely one of the big programs that I use. And if I have done my job correctly, you can't tell what is real and what isn't real. And so that's often a fun game that people will come into my booth and kind of play with. It's like, oh, did this happen in Photoshop, or did you catch that in real time? And or is this real in general? And that's always the biggest compliment there, and is to make it look like the magical is probable, right? And to kind of
Yeah.
live in that fun space. And so a lot of the work is kind of inspired from multiple different things from music and literature. But lately, I'd say over the last 7 or 8 years, it's been kind of more spiritually based as well, too. I
Mm.
met the most fascinating woman who was a neighbor of mine when we moved to Colorado, and she kind of opened my doors in a lot of different ways of things that I think I instinctively knew, but just didn't have maybe the vocabulary or the right person leading me in that direction to kind of show me that, yes, no, this is real. Um, and so at that point, all the work started to kind of lean more into the bigger existential type of thoughts of like, wow, why are we here? What is our purpose? And,
Yeah.
what's the greater story that's out there, and all of it. So it's to some degree really me just trying to connect with all of that and then
Mm.
connect others with the work to have them recognize perhaps in themselves that they are much greater than they give themselves credit for, right? And that we
Oh,
are we are all so much greater.
gosh.
So,
That is so beautiful. I would say that is kind of my favorite definition of art is that invitation that you have offered is like, hey, here's what you might want to engage, or it's like an offering, in fact, I was even thinking, this might be too woo for you since I know you're slowly coming over, but like to me, artwork is kind of like a portal.
oh
So,
no, I absolutely believe
oh,
that.
good.
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
was going to see what you think about that. Say
No,
more about that.
I would say for sure that I think us artists tune into something. We get into this flow state when we're really just in the thick of it, and the artwork isn't coming from us. There's something greater working through us.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that a lot of times with the artwork, and oh, I mean, it's 50-50. I get this question a lot too. It's like, how do you create the work? Do you have the idea first? Or what does that process look like? And so I'd say about half the time, and maybe it's not even half the time. I'm not sure what the skew is. It just depends on the day. But I'll have an idea that's so great that I'll, go through my catalog of images to see what I currently have, or if I need to go out and photograph more, and then start putting all of those pieces together to create that end result. But I would say that sometimes those ideas come out of nowhere too. It's just kind of this instant little download of like, oh, this is an interesting image while I was showering or doing dishes, right? And
Yeah.
those doing those mundane things, you get those little aha sparks. And then, so that'll happen. So whether or not that's me or something else, it's up for debate, right? But then there's the other side of, well, gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I know I need to be doing something because this is my job. And I think it was Chuck Close that had stated that inspiration is for amateurs, and I kind of look at that as inspiration slash motivation. Like, you've still got to do the work even if you're not motivated. And a lot of times it's just getting in there and doing creates that motivation and inspiration. And so I'll then start just taking, oh yeah, okay, I've got a folder of like for later use, or also a folder that's in progress that I'll come back to. And I'll just start playing around and taking different images and starting to layer them together to see what works. And I think once I get into that flow, then again, something else takes over and it starts putting it all together. And then it usually tells me what it means after it's done too, which is
Oh,
Oh,
also
that's so
super fascinating.
cool. So that gives me a ping a light bulb moment where to create gets you in the flow. So that is just the impetus, the creation that can get you into the flow. If
Mhm.
you're not waiting for the flow to happen to you, you are jumping in the flow and trusting that the flow will carry you.
oh,
Right,
so
right.
good.
Because sometimes the flow just isn't coming, and if we're going to wait for it to come, then it may
Yeah.
it may be waiting for a long time. And
Yeah, but
um,
that also means that you've got the act of surrender down and the act of trust where
Mm.
you just allow it to carry you. You allow it to move through you and come on, and you recognize it when it does happen.
mhm.
Hey, can we go back, Marissa, to your friend? Because I had the good, fun, and delightful pleasure of giving you a reading.
Hmm.
Are you coming to me for a reading, which was so special? And that person came right through, didn't
She
she?
did. She did. She did. Yes. Julie. She was definitely special. She was one of the first people that we met when we moved into the neighborhood. And it was kind of funny, this little side backstory, and I do this quite a bit. But the husband and I had been looking for a home. We bought a house sight unseen, and we were working with a realtor, and we knew we wanted to move to Colorado Springs. And we had, I think, put offers on to maybe three other houses in the area, and then finally landed on this particular house. And we kind of look back and, of course, did drive-bys by those other houses just when we finally were able to close on this current one. And realize it's like, yeah, that wouldn't have worked for this reason. That wouldn't have worked for this reason. And it's like, no, we needed to end up here in this street in order to be connected with Julie. It's like, I do really feel like that was
Oh,
part of it. And yeah, so we met her. We were outside. They were walking their dogs. And we just struck up a conversation. And I'm not really sure how we walked down this path, but we had noticed that our dog was kind of quivering a little bit, staring off into corners. And the woman that had lived in this house previously had died in one of the rooms just shy of her 99 no 100th birthday, 2 weeks shy of her 100th birthday.
Wow.
And so we were kind of wondering, like, is she still lingering a little bit? Is that what our dog is picking up on? And
Yeah.
so that kind of conversation came up somehow and they had lived on the street for a good 30 years or so. And so they knew who the woman was. And yeah, I think we just brought up, like, do you know, like, how to clear the house or what needs to happen along the way? And then that was kind of the segue that just opened the door for all of those conversations. So turns out she had worked in a couple of different industries, but over maybe the last 4 or 5 years prior to us moving there, started dabbling in all kinds of different things from Reiki to Akashic record readings to obviously guided meditations and leading things along those lines. But she was also doing like essential oil baths, if you will. I can't remember what she called that. There was a term for that. And then she made her own organic skincare products too.
Oh, rad.
Yeah. So she was just kind of a very beautiful, generous soul. And yeah, she kind of took me in under her wing, and I was just a sponge for all the different things that she had to kind of offer. Some of them were a little beyond what I was capable of comprehending, but other things were just like, yep, nope, this all makes sense. And she was just kind of this wonderful kind of guide teacher and just a really, really good friend. Yeah, so
Hmm.
I actually got I guess licensed to be a Reiki practitioner, which I don't. Basically, my husband is the only one that gets the benefits from
oh,
that. But yeah, I did
Uh,
take a few classes with her too. Yeah.
oh, it's so sweet. Well, when she came in, she showed me cards, and I immediately didn't want to say oracle cards. So I said, like, playing cards. And you're like, yeah, I understand cards. And then that just made me laugh because I'm like, Shane. Like, I like immediately assume it's not like one of me. You know what I mean? Oh,
Hmm.
they're not oracle cards, they're playing cards, right?
Hmm.
And then do you remember she said, like, I said, she showed a big circle. This is hilarious. She was like, this big circle on your desk. And it turns out it's this beautiful crystal ball.
Yep. This beautiful amethyst that was actually on my husband's desk, so I have since taken it back. I reclaimed it.
But I just love that I was like so one dimensional. I was like, it's a circle. But anyway. So I heard her kind of laughing at me as we went on. And so anyway, she's absolute delight. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry for your loss. Because
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it happened really, really quick. But I would love to share kind of her coming to me afterwards.
oh
yes.
yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so my husband and I have had experiences with smells after a couple of our loved ones had passed previously, and so Julie had pancreatic cancer, and we knew, it was going to be fairly quick, and she knew about our previous experiences too, and so I had asked her, like, when you come back as a smell, which smell would you like to be?
Oh my
That's
goodness,
such a
that's
great
so good.
question.
So that way I know it's you, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, so she kind of just laughingly joked with me that she wanted to come back as essential oils. She would always just kind of douse herself in everything all every day. And so she always smelled delicious anytime she was passing by. But yeah, so she told us essential oils. That's what I'm going to smell like. You'll know it's me when I'm coming through. And so then the day happened, and I was coming back from an art show. I had like an opportunity to see her one last time, and her daughter ended up coming over um, at the same time. And so they asked if I could wait. And it's like, of course, absolutely. And then by then she was just too tired. And I just kind of sensed it's like, I think I missed my window.
Mm.
And she went pretty quickly after that. But the day, I think it was a Sunday, and my husband, we were getting ready to move to New York, and my husband had already left to take off to start his job, and we were in process of getting ready to move. And so I came back from, I think, dinner with my sister-in-law, and I received the message that she had passed. And I
Mm.
just like, heartbroken, of course, despite the fact that she was going out in such a beautiful way. It's like she recognized this was it, this sucks, but yes, being of, a different mindset, it was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go out with such beautiful grace.
Mm.
Hmm.
And but anyhow, I ended up in the shower because I figured that that was the only place, being alone in a house, that I could get hugged, essentially,
Mm.
and just sit underneath the warm water and just have it pour over me. And I remember just not even turning the lights on. I'm like, I just want to be in the dark and I just want to cry. And
Oh.
so, I don't even remember how long I was in there, but out of nowhere, I got blasted from the right side of my head with three very bright lights that were so bright that they
Wow.
just caught me off guard. I mean, I remember crying out like, like,
Surprise.
whoa, like, where did
Yeah.
that come from? And then I just had this very calm feeling come over me. And I knew that was her just coming to say goodbye. Yeah.
Oh, oh,
It
the
was just really,
knowing. Yeah.
yeah, it was just really beautiful.
That sounds so beautiful.
Hmm.
And did you get doused in essential oils at that point?
I did not. No, she has.
Oh.
There was one time I think I was in the middle of something in the bedroom, kind of wandering through, and it's like I remember smelling something, and I had a brief moment of like, "Huh, is that Julie?" But then it was also like I am on a path to get something done right now, and I'm like thinking, later would be a better time, and just kind of moved on from that. But
Well, tell
yeah.
us about the other smell-o-visions that you had, the other visitations.
Yeah, yeah. So the first one was with my husband's uncle, who was just 5 years older than him. They were more like brothers. And
Mm.
we lived in Connecticut at the time, and it was right around, oh my goodness, it was right around Labor Day in 2013. So we're coming up on the anniversary of that.
Wow.
And it was the middle of the day, so we were both off of work, and I come into the living room, and he's just really obviously very upset. And we just start chatting a little bit about it. I'm like, tell me some of the stories about you and him. His name is
Oh.
Ken. And yeah, so he just starts just sharing his past with me. And then out of nowhere, we get this extremely strong smell of coffee.
Oh.
And Ken was a huge coffee lover. He owned a coffee shop
Oh,
at a
wow.
VA hospital, and he would often send big bags of beans to us. And so we're sitting there on the couch, and it's
Wow.
2 or 3 in the afternoon, maybe. And all of a sudden, we look at each other, and it's like, "Do you smell coffee?" And it's like, "Yeah, we both." It's just like it's very evident. And so we
Wow.
got up, went into the kitchen where the coffee supply actually was, and you couldn't smell the coffee there. I mean, it was
That's
pretty
so cool.
amazing. Yeah. So
I
we
love that you both smelled it. That's
Yeah.
really astounding.
That's very special. Yeah.
Yes.
My husband is fairly intuitive as well too, so that is
Oh.
is a bonus for both of us for sure. And then the second time was actually after our dog had passed,
Mm.
and I that day we ended up having somebody come into the home and take care of her there, so she wouldn't have to be in a strange place. That we were all together and surrounded. And before that woman came, I kind of doused her in sage and laid down on the ground. And we did a little meditation with her curled up next to me. It's kind of just like, all right, we're going to prepare you to go. And
Oh.
so that was a really sad day too. But that evening, after we'd gone to bed, Mark wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, Marissa, wake up, wake up. And you can just smell the whole room just reeked of sage as well. So
Wow.
she came back to visit too.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I'm getting
I
chills.
me too. Wow.
Yeah.
It was shared. How
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sage. Oh, and do you have another dog or I think we talked about that.
We have two dogs now. Yes, we had planned not to get another dog for a while so we could go travel. But the previous one passed in the middle of COVID. And
Can't live
so
without
You
a
needed
dog in
another dog.
yep,
COVID.
Yeah.
yep. So we got a rescue dog and then we ended up getting another rescue dog for the first rescue dog. So we have
As you
so
do.
right.
Yeah.
So we have two.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
Sage is such a good name for a dog. So maybe when that one comes back again, you can name her
Right.
Sage.
Right.
Oh,
Completely.
that's so sweet. Well, I don't mean to keep over indexing on Julie, but one of the pieces that you shared with us, Becoming,
Mhm.
I noticed that you said that it was inspired by Julie.
I think that was one of those pieces that actually I kind of recognized what was happening afterwards. Like it's a multifaceted piece. So I
Yeah.
created
Yeah. I
that.
was just looking at that one.
Do you want to
It's
maybe
so
just describe
gorgeous.
it for listeners and then again they can come find it?
Yeah, absolutely. So so there's a young girl who was a friend of mine. I used to do circus aerial stuff, and so she's from
Cool.
that's how I know her. And she's a contortionist. Her name is Katie. She's just amazing. I took her out into the water that was Monument Lake over in Colorado. And I had this idea where I wanted to kind of create this almost mirror image or this beautiful symmetry with a swan coming in. And and it has the Merkaba sacred geometry symbol in the middle of it. And I was doing an
Ooh.
entire series. Oh, lovely. Look at you.
Oh,
Yes.
she's got one right
All
there.
tetrahedron, yep. And so I was doing a series called Above Below that was kind of all about the interconnectedness that exists out in nature. And I
Mm,
was playing around with putting symbols in the work, which is not anything that I've ever done before. And part of the whole work that I do within trying to make things look real kind of doesn't allow for other symbols or lines or things that are, not so organic in nature to exist, right? And so I was struggling a little bit with that and trying to figure out like, does this make sense to put this in here? And so I put it in, I took it out, I put it in, I took it out. I think I did this like 4 or 5 times or more, just like, can I leave this in here? This funny thing started to happen is it felt like it was missing
Yeah.
when it wasn't
I'm
there.
looking at it right now and we'll put a link in the show notes, but I
yeah.
yeah, I love it so much there.
It really
Yeah, it
needed to
really
be there.
belongs there. Yep.
Yeah, it felt like it was missing. And I get a lot of people that will come into my booth too and will also tell me, it's like, I think this actually would be stronger if it didn't have it in there. And so I'll just tell them the story. It's like it wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And then of course the whole Merkaba aspect of it, with kind of Jewish mysticism and the notion of the chariot and the vehicle that takes the soul on a transformational journey. And so I had created this piece back in 2023 even. And so this to me at the time that I created it was more or less about kind of where do we go when we meditate? Where do we go when we dream? Things
Yeah.
of that nature of trying to find our truest self and then somehow create that version of us now in this space and not necessarily, you know, in the next life or whatever,
Right.
one's inclination is, right? But how do we
Hmm.
become this
I do that
embodiment
here. Yeah.
of our highest self here, right?
Oh,
And so, after, yeah, so that was 2023, and Julie died at the beginning of 2024. Actually, it was not that long. That was in October of 2023, and so she passed in January of 2024. And so afterwards, looking at it again in that regard, it just felt like that also it was also about her moving on into the next realm as well. So that piece holds very multifaceted to me.
Yeah.
Wait, I
Oh,
have a question. Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
no, no, no. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you have the date as January 16th. Is that the
That's
day
when
she
I wrote the
crossed?
blog.
Okay.
Um, and
Okay.
the date she crossed, I want to say was January 13th or 14th.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I bring it up because that's my birthday.
Is it really?
So when well, I've been back and forth looking at all your pieces online, and I was like, hold on a minute, that's my birthday.
That would have been funny, especially with all the other little synchronicities that we
Well,
had on our,
yes.
yeah.
So, Sarah, get this. Marissa, tell Sarah the name of your grandmother.
My grandmother and my grandfather, who both appeared and came to visit during my reading with Jane, was also
Oh.
named Jane and Joe.
Oh, no way. That's so
So
funny.
crazy. She's like,
I love that so much.
no. I said to Sarah, I'm like, really crazy things happen, but I won't tell you until we're on the mic.
Oh, that's so good.
But I just now looked again at that 16th and I was like, that's fun. So Julie had, for me anyway, Julie has this energy of both delightful, grounded, all these good things, but kind of a trickster too. Like she just like to have a little bit of fun with reality. And so I feel like she's around this recording and around this whole thing, like even me meeting you in the first
Yeah.
place,
I,
like
I
I
wouldn't
feel
be
her.
surprised. Right? Yeah. Well, she had mentioned to you too that that was why you were reading all the angel books the previous night too, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as well, I met you like, gosh, 3 or 4 days after I moved here. So talk about a portal. I was in one and I still sort of am. And so I think, I definitely work through synchronicities. It's like the only way
Hmm.
I understand reality, actually. So meeting you was very soothing and being at that art festival. And I just want to add for our listeners that Park City Art Fest is very prestigious. Like
It is.
it's a big deal to
There
exhibit there.
There are a lot of amazing, talented artists that exhibit there, so it's
Yeah.
just a huge honor to be included in that for sure.
Well, exactly that. And I have like a really cool it's not worth going deep in this story, but when I first met my husband, he lived here, and he ultimately wound up moving to Seattle with me. But I bought a piece for him at the art festival before we were really, really, really together, and it was like a lot of money for me. It was like $500 or something in '98, so it was like a lot of money. And I hid it in the closet, and I just thought, well, if we really are meant to be, then I will present this piece of artwork to him. Otherwise, I don't know what I'll do with it. So anyway, I have this like super like big heart connection with that fest. And then literally like we got in on a, Thursday, and then it started on whatever the math was, it was really soon. And then like I walk into your booth and I see your artwork and I'm like, this woman has it figured out.
Yeah.
Well, I would never say that for sure. We're all a work in progress.
Did
Sure.
you just make this move into full-time artist like within the past several years? And
Yes, yes.
how did you take that leap of faith to do that? Because I know a lot of artists, they'll do it on the side or they'll do it as, their part-time gig, but you did the full on, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to commit. How'd you do that?
Yeah, it's do you want to hear the long version or the short version?
The magical version.
Okay. So, well, I do have an art degree. I did go to school for drawing and painting actually, and dabbled in photography while I was there and really fell in love with that. So I think at that time, my alt work in the past started becoming more, it was an analog, but more mixed media with photography elements to it. But I didn't believe that I could actually survive as an artist. I think my husband and I were chatting about that this morning, that the whole silly um, starving artist myth that we don't know
Yeah.
where it came from. I think I was listening to something the other day that talked about how it was actually a piece of fiction that somebody romanticized, and then it got
Huh.
turned into something greater and became a belief set, which was dangerous.
Yeah.
to all the creatives out there. But
Yes, I
regardless,
should say so.
yeah. So I did not believe that I could make a living as an artist and dabbled in all kinds of other things, kind of doing art in the back for quite a while. That I actually owned my own payroll business for a while there too, for 5 years, which was totally not related to art or anything even remotely. But at the time, I met my husband, and he was the one that was so very encouraging. He was looking at some of
Oh,
the work that I had created and was like, why are you doing this over here when clearly
Yeah.
this is like it's like his gift is kind of seeing the truth in other people and kind of seeing where their magic is and kind of helping to bring that to light. And so he definitely did that for me. It took a long time to get to where I am now. So that was, God, back, we met in 2009, got married in
Uh-huh.
2010. So after I sold my company, I ended up going back to photography school to learn more about digital photography and started creating this kind of work in 2013. And then when we moved to, we've lived all over. We've lived in like eight different places in the 15 years that we've been together. So we lived in Virginia for a little bit there too. And then that's actually when I started putting my work more out there and kind of there's a place in Alexandria called the Torpedo Factory where all of these artists it's an old actual torpedo place where they used to
whoa.
engineer these things and that, since it's been repurposed into artist studios, it's the coolest space. And so I had, I think, joined up and started submitting work to the art, little art league gallery that they had down there. And oh, that's a fun little magical component to it. I remember getting ready to take a couple of pieces there that you had to kind of jury in. They would have somebody that would come and select which pieces went up on the wall. And I'm
Uh-huh.
in the closet doing something completely unrelated, and I heard you need to take this piece to this show this month. Um, and and it was December, and it was one of my pieces that is more of a magical kind of snow piece. It's like kind of like if you were living inside a snow globe kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And so
Yeah.
I did, and I ended up winning Best in Show for that,
Nice.
which was wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen to those
Talk about
voices.
a
Yeah.
Yeah.
nudge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always got to do that for sure. And so that, yeah, in the meantime, I still worked a few other jobs, doing it part-time, creating the work part-time. And then we ended up moving again and I took on a full-time role. But it was COVID. It was actually the pandemic. My job kind of got put on halt. I still had one, thankfully, but things terribly slowed down. And so I started creating, and I created this whole series called the Corona Chronicles, Outside In. And so all of my little animal pieces where I brought out the outside world indoors while we were all in
Oh,
lockdown as kind
that's
of a way to cope with
Yeah.
cool.
it. And the work started selling. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, like everybody, I think everybody was trying to take care of all of us creatives that were out there. Like, how do we do this? Let's support, let's buy art. We're all renovating our homes right now because we don't know what we're doing. And so that was really kind of the impetus. And in 2021, yeah, I completely quit my job and started doing this full time. And things have really kind of exploded since then, which has been super,
Wow.
super cool. That's
Yeah.
fun.
That kind of is it's evidence that when you follow those nudges, you and this wasn't even a nudge. This was like a full on take this specific piece and sell it here. Like
Yep.
when you follow that guidance
Hmm.
and trust,
Mhm.
big things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was very exciting. Things like that happen every so often too. The goal is to fine tune into that more to where it's just happening all the time or just being receptive to it or again trusting that hey, this isn't
Yeah.
this isn't my voice. Maybe I need to pay attention to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love what you said earlier. The line was the embodiment of the highest self, which
Mm,
is a concept that I've been playing around with personally and finding so much comfort in that. And that, like, that's maybe who knows what the goal of this whole thing is, but it seems like
right.
one of them, like a really good one. Um, and I wonder about how it feels knowing that your work is hanging on walls and I see you on Instagram and on your blog that people are like, I love this and I want another one. And like I loved seeing that relationship. And I'm wondering, like, what's your favorite outcome? You know, like what's your favorite idea of what happens once the art leaves your hands?
Oh gosh. I That's a great question. I had this one woman email me once and it came at a right moment too, because sometimes regardless of the success that we have, we sit there and we question whether or not it's gonna
Panic.
right.
Oh, that's me. That's me.
It's like, can this, be maintained?
Yeah.
Or is this a fluke or all of those different things? And so I think I was having one of those moments. And then I received an email from this woman thanking me for creating this piece that she had bought, and that every time she looks at it, it reminds her that she's strong. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I do have, obviously my work is not for everybody, and that's true for any kind of art, right? That's the
sure.
oh
subjectivity
yeah.
and the
Yep.
beauty of art. And
Yep.
Sarah, I know you're a musician too, so same kind of thing. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different genres and types of
That's right.
music.
Yeah.
And so I'll get the people that, move on and they don't give it a second glance, or it's like, oh, Photoshop, dirty word, like, yeah, it's not real or art, whatever. But then I'll have the other people that will walk through and it will hit them. And
Mm.
a lot of times they'll come in and they just have the biggest smiles on their faces, or they will have their hand over their heart.
Oh,
And
that's so
and I
good.
yeah, and I'll just ask them, it's just like, so what are you feeling? And they're like, I don't know, but it feels good. And then
Yeah.
I will have others that will just come in. Some of them have told me that, oh my God, I had a dream that looks just like this. And I've
Oh,
never witnessed this before. And then I have other people that are just flat out crying in my booth as well too.
that's so
So
powerful.
it really is. So to be able to connect with others in that way is just such a beautiful thing. I mean, obviously it's very validating too, but it just reminds me that I'm doing something bigger here than just creating work. It's this beautiful conduit, if you will.
Connection.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is connection. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. I mean, we could stop right there and then just all sit and sob if that sounds about right. Marissa, do you have anything else that you might want to just share with our sweet listeners about your brilliance? Because I'm
Oh my
just such a
goodness.
fan.
No, actually, I wanted to talk back. I remembered something that you had said when my grandmother came to visit the
Mm,
other day, and
Jane.
how, yes, Jane, God, I loved her so much. She really was just this bright light and this very strong woman, a wonderful, strong female role model that I had when I was growing up. And she had told you that she took a little credit for some of the artistic
Yeah,
work that I had been
that's right.
doing.
Yep.
Yep. And I didn't mention this to you at the time, but she was a painter. She was more of a hobbyist, really. So she didn't put it out there to sell or anything. And I actually ended up getting one of her pieces when she passed. I was kind of like, I don't really want much of anything, but I want something that she painted because it's
Yeah.
part of her that she left behind, right?
Mhm.
But she took me and one of my other cousins to like my first oil painting class. And I just have that
Oh,
beautiful memory of that too. And so I
Yeah.
grew I
wow.
grew up in a house full of scientists, and I'm kind of the odd person out at being the creative person. They don't know what to do with me half the time, but my grandmother for sure was definitely more of a creative individual, even though she kind of
Oh,
dabbled in finances and did all kinds of other fun things as well too. But rightfully so, she does get credit for where I'm at as well, because she was
Yeah.
an
Taking you to an
encourager.
art lesson for sure.
yeah.
Hmm.
And also, I remembered one of the first things I said, and we might even just inject a few moments from the reading
Hmm.
into this for folks to listen to. But I think that was the first thing I said was like, I said, you come from a strong line of strong women. I was
Yes.
like, her strength was like the first thing through, and that she wasn't exceptionally tall either.
No,
It was
no, she was about 5 feet. Yep. Five
like
feet tall.
she kind of stormed in, I was like, well, here she
Yep.
comes. Oh my
Small and
gosh.
mighty.
Yeah.
Small and mighty. Her favorite actress was Elizabeth Taylor. I think she kind of embodied like a Mexican Elizabeth Taylor of some sort. That was her
Oh my
presence.
God. That sounds perfect. Yeah, and then I was noticing that again, one of your pieces, because it'll be fun to link all these, is that somewhere in the middle you talk about Jane and how
Yes.
she's like such a powerhouse in your life. And
Yes.
so I love that we, honor our ancestors and our friends on the other side in different ways. And I think that's what I love. One of the many things I love about your artwork is not only are you like inviting people into their own hearts, which it sounds like happens when they come into your booth crying, but that you bring these people back, these pieces, like honor them and bring them back. And it's sweet too, because that somewhere in the middle piece has monarch butterfly wings, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw it. It's really moving.
It's so beautiful. Well, that's
Yeah.
how my grandmother comes through as a monarch butterfly.
Aw,
So there's
yeah.
another connection with us, that all these like wacky
Yep.
synchronicities. And also, Sarah, Marissa is from Houston, which is, of course, where I grew up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I have a sister who lives there too.
All right. Well, Miss Marissa, thank you again for all that you do and for inspiring us and for being our first visual artist. So
Thank you. So honored for sure.
so
to be
happy
here.
to have you here. And I hope you take good care. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Very Soul is our sponsor for Medium Curious. Jane and I are both Very Soul mediums.
Oh, yes, we are. Verysoul.com, y'all. Inspired by spirit, guided by love, and brought to life by mediums.
Medium Curious is made possible.
By Jane Morgan Editing.
Sarah Rathke made the amazing music.
And you can help Medium Curious by downloading the episodes.
And the dogs under the desk in Utah are Kalea and Domino.
And Trixie in California.